Welcome, guys. Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob.
Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob. Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob.
Let me do some introductions here. Head coach Martin Bacon from Montclair, the Cavaliers. Manny Lemus from Chaminade. Jim Reggio from myburbank.com. We got Mark Deschart from Twitter.
Big fan.
And Jonathan Navarro, O-line coach from Montclair.
Yo.
Welcome, guys. I appreciate you guys being here. First episode of the podcast, Talkin Ball with Buckeye Rob. I'm glad you guys were here. I mean, these guys know where this started from. Starting this podcast has been a long time in the making. It started probably back when these guys, at one time, all three of us were on the same coaching staff back at Burbank. I've been a coach at Burbank for 11 years now. And these guys were there, very instrumental in my coaching career back in the beginning. He made me a D-line coach for 5 years, and both these guys were DCs.
Coach Bacon looks way too young to have been coaching that long.
Does he look like he's a head coach? How many years have you been coaching?
He was playing 5 years ago.
Man, 19 years. Coming on 19 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So a while, man.
So you started where? When I got to Burbank, how many years were you there?
I can't remember when you got to Burbank.
2012 was my first
2012.
year.
So
2 years probably?
Yes, 2 years. 2 years.
Okay.
I started at Etiwanda High School 2003 as a
They'll have a
JV
team
coach.
this year.
JV
Every
coach.
year.
And then was there for 1 year and then sat out a year of coaching. Didn't know if I wanted to coach or not. You know that every coach has that decision of if they want to coach or they got to find a 9 to 5 job. So that year I went out, and then after the year I was like, I need to coach. You know, I talked to my mom at the time. I was young. I was like, I need to find a job where I can coach. So then one of the kids I coached at Etiwanda ended up going to Citrus College, and his dad knew the coach up there, Ron Ponciano. And Ron Ponciano was a coach at Northridge, where I played football at when I had a football program. So kind of got me an in there. And then coached there for 5 years. The last 2 or 3, I can't remember, but I think it was the last 3 years I was a DC. And then Richard Broussard, a guy
Head coach at Village Christian.
He's the head coach of Village Christian right now.
He's a friend of the show. He'll be on the show later in the year.
I knew him in high school, and he was the OC at Burbank, and he was trying to get me over there. And I met with him, and then they ended up hiring me with Hector Valencia, 2010.
So Brew hired you too.
Yeah.
Brew hired me too.
Yeah. Brew hired me.
Did he hire you?
He hired me too.
He hired all
Brew
three
hired
of us.
me.
He was supposed to be here tonight, and he couldn't.
Yeah.
So he will be in later.
And if you ask him, he'll say we're all under his coaching tree. So
yeah, we're all.
We met at Barney's over there in Burbank at the time. Yeah, we just met there. But and then I was there at 2010, and then Lemus came
the same year. I had interviewed for a O-line position.
O-line, okay.
And he told me to draw up a play, and I forgot to block a guy with the offensive line pulling. He's like, what's he supposed to do? I'm like, he's just running back's got to make a move. So he's like, you know what? We need a DB coach.
And then you were there for like 3 or 4 or 5 years.
Honestly, that's how it was. And Bruce like, I got a guy for you. He came for O-line, but I think he'll be a good DB guy because he played safety at GCC. And I was like, all right. So Lemus came on, and then Buckeye, I don't know how you...
I emailed Coach Valencia, said I want to coach high school football. And he texted me back and emailed me back, and I sat down with Brew and had a little conversation, a little mini interview, and that was in June of 2012, and then I've been there ever since. So,
and then it was a great coaching staff. We had
some great teams. 2013 was probably our best year.
Best year there
when we were on staff all together.
And then I left to go to be the DC at Covina. I don't know, a year, probably
2015. I think it was.
Spent 3 years there at Covina High School, and then the job I got red taped or whatever it's called at Covina. So then I ended up going 1 year at Oak Hills High School.
I remember that. Okay.
So I went to Oak Hills with that team, and that was the first time that being on that level. At the time, I think Oak Hills was like Division 4. Just seeing the talent level that they had on there and like the competition. You really don't see it at Burbank and Covina, but it really was there. They had a tackle at the time. He went to SC. I think he's still there. He's a senior maybe, but they had a couple guys go there. And then the Montclair job opened up, and I knew the assistant principal there that was a high school. Went to high school with and told me about it.
Somebody.
They said you should apply, and then ended up applying there, became a PE teacher, head coach, and then I'm going on my 4th year.
Okay, that's where I want you to stop.
Okay.
How'd you get this guy on your squad, on your staff?
Crazy, right? So my O-line coach left after 1 year, and we needed a coach going into COVID year. And I put the thing out on CIF for a long time, and nobody budged. And I got an email saying, I want to apply for a coaching job. I'm like, what coaching job? Like, because at the time I then hired somebody. And the guy that I hired went through the background and everything, but then something happened where he couldn't finish the last part of the hiring process. So when Coach Navarro emailed me, he's like, I saw that you guys looking for O-line coach. I'm like, how did you know that? Like, I never put it out there. He goes, it's on CIF. And the post stayed for, it was like months. So then I was like, yeah, come on in. Just so happy that our O-line coach that we had that was probably here for a week, he got, they canceled him, and I need somebody. So he came in, we started talking, and what I liked about him was that he worked with kids before. He was enthusiastic, young coach, and knew what he was talking about. Great vibe that I got with him. And, it's like young coaches, you want somebody that's going to be there, a loyal guy, a guy that's like a gun-ho and everything. And then come to find out, he is like good friends with my cousin.
Oh, okay.
So then it was like, it was a no-brainer, kind of thing. And then,
so how long have you been there since 2020?
That COVID year was the first year, which was an interesting way to get my feet wet when it came to coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about that. Yeah, but did you coach anywhere before?
No. I was
you just a player.
Yeah, I was looking because I was.
You were a football player and wanted to coach
trying
football.
to get in there.
Very good. That's exactly what I was like too. Back to Lemus here. So you were DB coach at Burbank. Got the DC job when he leaves.
Yes. Well, I want to say this: when Lemus became DC, Brew came to me and said, leaving, what do you think? You think Lemus can do it? I said, yeah, I think he can. And then one thing was like, Brew told me, I don't know if Lemus knows, but Brew's like, he has to meet with you. And I was like, okay. So Lemus came to my apartment, and we spent all day. You remember that?
Yeah, that was a long
going through
day.
Plays and stuff.
Long day.
Snow in the playbook.
All day, he's like, hey, this is what it is. This is what we do. This and that. Like remembering, this is my notes. I gave him everything I had. Kind of thing. And
so that was your first year. That was 2016, right? Or 2015.
It must have been 2015, I think.
It was because the year that we went to CIF title. That wasn't your first year.
That was not my first year. It was the second year that we went to CIF.
Yeah.
So we played. I think the first game was. It must have been Monrovia.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, that's right. It was.
At Monrovia, they had a lot of hype, and
yeah, we beat Monrovia 2 years in a row.
Yeah,
3 years in a row, didn't we?
3 years in a row.
We beat them 3 years in a row. But then after 2018, you got the job at Chaminade. Was it 18 or 19?
20. It was the end of the 2018 season, so 2019.
Okay. So you've been there. You're going on just like
this is year four for me.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys went through similar changes in the same year. So
yeah.
Okay.
Similar changes.
Yeah. Jim.
Oh boy, I've been around high school football for 30 years. Not consistently. There's been a few years, where I've had to do done different things, but I've been. I have covered Burbank schools and then other schools as well, other areas. But
you've been on our sidelines.
Yes,
almost every game for the past at least 5 or 6 years.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you cover Burroughs too? Do you go to Burroughs?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think I've covered. I have covered Burbank and Burroughs.
Is that the rival school?
On and off. On and off.
2 miles away down the street.
Yeah.
Down the hill, down the flatlands.
We call him John.
They call him John. Yeah. They're the Bears now. I'll bring him. I'll bring him on. Wei'll talk to him.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah. But no, they've. I've been covering Burbank and Burroughs primarily, but then I've been in a couple other places as well. Since 1992. First year, Burbank's running back was a guy by the name of Hector Valencia.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? If you guys don't know, Hector Valencia was a head coach at Burbank for good, 5 years or so?
I believe so.
Yeah. So and Hector was a heck of a running back. I mean, he was a tough guy to take down, and I'll tell you, Burbank had a really good team that year. That very first year that there were 3 guys on that team that played Division I college football. Oh, wow. And it's just, but at the time, you're in the Foothill League with the teams in Santa Clarita who where
they continue to do that to Burbank.
yeah, it was very hard to be on the sidelines, seeing that Burbank and Burroughs had talent, and yet you get beat bad by heart, because the Harringtons were just outstanding coaches. I mean, and those kids were, on offense, Dean Harrington, outstanding coach. Those guys were so well prepared. And
he's taking a San Francisco team this year.
Yeah.
They're going to be pretty good this year.
Right. And so it was very common to see, Burbank and Burroughs, getting beat by, 6-7 touchdowns,
Canyon's the team that, I don't know, if we just would go to Canyon, we just fall over, and it didn't matter what we did, we just could not beat Canyon.
It's something once you touch that 14 freeway.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's not good luck for any team.
It's tough to play up there. Definitely tough to play up there.
Mark the Shark.
Sir.
Mark, our Charter Oak dude.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'm an opinionist first.
Yeah, that's why Mark, you're here. I like your insights on Twitter.
I think that's my role here. I actually do. My son, he's at Charter Oak. He's a junior at Charter Oak. Plays football, plays baseball.
What position?
Cool.
He's a linebacker. Linebacker and baseball, middle infield, outfield. But
Charter's going to be good this year.
Yeah, Charter Oak's
They're going to have a
good
team.
They
got a new quarterback this year, right?
They have a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
Richie Munoz Jr. Transfer from LaSalle. And he's played since he was a freshman, put up massive numbers, and now he's at
we were going to play LaSalle last year, but it was one of those COVID games. They got COVID, and we ended up not playing them. We had to find Thursday. We had to find a team. We ended up finding Mountain View. We ended up beating them by 50, but.
Monty, you do that to Mountain View out in Monty?
Yeah.
Monty do that to them?
we wanted the game. We were expected to play LaSalle, and then Thursday night they say we got COVID. So.
Didn't they have some schools who would
We played on grass
They
too.
couldn't find anybody to play, and they're like St. Francis, okay, we'll go pick you up.
Yeah.
Because there was
We'll pay
a
for
bus
your
issue.
bus.
Yeah.
We'll go pick you up.
wow.
And
We actually
bring
played
you
on
over.
grass
I did
too.
not
It was
know
pretty good. So, okay.
Has
So
your son been there all?
Yeah.
Okay.
He actually started with the youth. So I lived down the street from Charter Oak for 15 years now.
you said he was the junior this year?
Yeah, he's a junior this year. So he
Good
started
times. Good
with
times.
the
Got 2 good years left.
Charter Oak came up through there. Freshman year got wiped out. I think they played 3-4 games.
Yeah.
That was the COVID year.
Okay.
That was
Okay.
the COVID year. And then,
Well, let's
Sophomore was
talk
pretty good.
about that. Let's talk about COVID. Because we got a shortened season on. We didn't even play in 2020, and it was played in the spring, and then these kids had to come back within 2 months and play another full season in 21. Even in 2020, even when we got a full season, a lot of teams really didn't even get a full season because of COVID. Teams can't, like I just said, LaSalle.
Right.
Luckily, we were able to pick up a team, but these now we're facing we're going to have a full season here, and we're back to what we think is high school football here. Is COVID still an issue? What if your team has a breakout? What's going to happen? Are you losing a game? I don't know.
have they even mentioned that? I haven't heard.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
I usually expect Sondheimer to put out the.
Is it an issue anymore?
Right.
Are you seeing kids having COVID? We just had one in Burbank for a few guys, and we missed a scrimmage last week.
I know we still have kids that have COVID, but I think, to my knowledge, is that they cannot return until they have a.
So that's what I'm saying. It's not a can't or you got a positive. You're done. You cancel it because at that time you get a positive, your team's done.
Yeah.
You got to cancel.
Is
game.
there still a mandatory testing? Are they doing that?
No, they're not,
there
not
isn't.
testing anymore.
Okay, so
That's what I mean. Is
someone
it an
decides to
issue?
go
Is
get
it still
tested,
an issue?
So if
Yeah.
someone decides to go get tested,
Yeah.
and then they have to report it to the school, and then
they
there's an
can't
issue.
return until they have a positive.
Yeah, luckily for us, we didn't have, I don't think, one issue at all with it. I think the school protocol we had, it was pretty strict, so
Yeah.
we got lucky. I don't think we had one case during the COVID season, at least to stop us from playing. So it was a lot of contact tracing that went on, but
Did you?
How many games
Did you
did you
guys
play?
lose a game or anything? Did you guys have to
we
replace a game on the
actually
schedule?
got an extra game.
Okay.
We were supposed to scrimmage our blue and orange game, and La Habra had a game that got canceled because of COVID.
Oh, so this is
So our head coach, Crozen, he called La Habra Thursday night, I think, and said, "Let's play, let's play."
Oh,
so,
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, we were unprepared, but the kids got an extra game out of it, so
Yeah.
that's pretty much all that
experience on a
counted.
football field.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because is the pandemic over? Is it not? I mean, but I'm just wondering, is it still an issue, or is it just if a kid gets positive, take him out of the system, we just keep playing? That's all it is. I think that's how it is now.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the CIF divisions and how they. Do you guys like how they determine the divisions now? Do you like waiting till the end of the year to see what division?
That doesn't make any sense to me.
You like waiting, playing 10 games, not even know what division you're going to play, and then you play 10 games, and let's say you have a good season, but you're on that cusp, or am I going to be 16th seed of this division, or am I going to be number 1 seed of the next division?
Last game?
I'm curious.
Because that's a big difference.
I'm curious about Mark thinks.
Well, I said, do they lose that last game, or if you're 9-0 and you're looking pretty darn good, and maybe you tank that last game, and maybe you
now we're tanking in high school football.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hearing people talking about that happened.
But yeah, let's take
CIF set it up that way. CIF set it up that way. They rewarded
last year, Simi Valley ran the table at 10-0.
Yeah.
And they get put up in Division 2 and they get matched up with Orange Lutheran. I don't know if Orange Lutheran should be in Division 2.
No.
Being in a Trinity League, playing a Trinity
They
League.
had no business there, just like Long Beach Poly had no business in Division 4.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I mean, if Simi doesn't go against Orange, they run the table. I think. We played Simi last year, and that was you were there.
Yes.
That was one of the best teams we played at Burbank.
Oh yeah.
Easily in the last 5-10 years.
Oh wow.
Since I've been there.
Yeah.
I mean, if they don't match up with Orange, they probably win CIF in Division 2.
Yeah. Well, Bankard's teams are always well prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been, he's won, I don't know, at least 5 or 6 CIF titles over the years, and definitely, it came as no surprise. I felt bad for Adam that he'd have to play Simi Valley with no preparation, and
that was the game we had. We had COVID stuff going on, and we could not prepare when we play Simi Valley with no preparation.
Yeah, talking about one of the winningest coaches in state history.
But don't you guys play them this year?
No, we had them during 7-on-7, but they're always well coached.
Okay.
They're good. They're always good.
Tarek Patel has them at ranked number 2 in his area ranking.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
So,
but they had dudes last year, and I'm sure a lot of them came back.
Oh man,
with the divisions, I love it.
You like it?
I think it benefits us. So it doesn't benefit the top schools, like you said. Like Yorba Belinda was one that went 10-0, and they ended up getting Butch first round. That sucks. But somebody like us that, what we did in the playoffs last year and got a chance to, I think it was just perfect for us. So.
But as a head coach, would you rather know what division you are going into the season, or you want to play a season, find out on Saturday or Sunday after you go 10-0 and say, what division am I going to be in?
It doesn't matter. I just think the teams who's in that division. Some people talk about the area, like it should be like the area, or the league should be the area, but some schools shouldn't have certain teams in their league, and they might be right next door to each other, kind of thing. So I just think that it just has to be. I'm not one of those guys that talks about population of the school. Like, we're over 3,000, but just because we're over 3,000 doesn't mean we can compete with Charter Oak.
Yeah.
So don't give me that population or school size.
That's how they determine it in the Midwest.
Yeah,
I'm from Ohio. That's how
our
they
school is just
determine
not a football school. Like, if you come to our school, you have over 100 plus to try for a soccer team, and our soccer won CIF last year. So they do a good job. And then the kids that play football never played football before because we don't have a Pop Warner or Jewel Arden.
Sounds like it's more of a soccer.
Yeah, so it's so population getting. But it sucks for the teams that went 10-0. Monrovia and them, they went 10-0, but.
Yeah,
and they get a bad draw. I don't know what else to say.
There are advantages and disadvantages.
It
depends on the school.
Competition.
No, it does. It does.
Except for the exception of Division 4, Poly steamrolled everybody.
Yeah.
But every other level was pretty darn competitive.
It really was.
I think it can work. The idea is there.
Yes.
But I think there has to be more to it. There needs to be scheduling. You can only if that's the way it's going to work, you need to schedule up a certain amount of divisions.
I agree.
Yeah. You can only schedule with maybe up if you were division let's say 7 last year. The lowest you can schedule down is Division 9.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And you have to schedule 2 divisions up.
Yes.
Something like that, right? So maybe 2 or 3 games like that, and then you can fit in your rivalry games and stuff like that, and then league.
I agree.
You know what I mean? Something like that. That makes sense to me.
I totally agree because we were Division 13 last year, so we can play Division 11, maybe Division 10 team to like 14, obviously, but that would be like our range, you know, like, and that would give us a good range of where we're at. So if we do get bumped up, we know where we're at, you know, kind of thing. But I think you're right. It has to be more science to it. I think we're on the right track, but we just got to have something where the teams are more like eye test too. Like Aquinas won their CIF, and I think they averaged like over 14 plus in their wins in the playoffs. Like they just steamrolled everybody, and then they beat St. Pius X, right? With like by 30 maybe.
In the championship?
Yeah, in the championship.
They beat, I think, Pasadena in the semis, right?
Yeah.
And then they beat Pius.
Yeah, like they just run through. So like Long Beach Poly should not be. Sarah, you know, should not have been in that division. Like they're a really good team.
What you guys were 5-5 last year, right?
Yes.
What division they put you in?
I think we were Division 2 or Division 3. I forget because it was so.
Yeah.
It was all over the place, but yeah, I mean, we had to play Sarah in the first round. And
Well, you're a team I'm talking about. You're 5-5, and you're either going to be a top seed in one division, or you're going to be like a 15 seed.
Yeah, you play the likes of Mater Dei or Bosco in the first round.
And you play Mater Dei or Bosco.
Yeah, it's like, that's your reward for winning the league.
Which those training league teams should not be coming down to 2.
You know, we had just played Sarah like 2 weeks before that, so it was pretty quick turnaround. But yeah, I mean, that's a tough team. That's a tough draw.
Yeah, you got one of the fastest youth sprinters in the world, Roderick Pleasant.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that guy is...
Don't punt to that guy.
Yeah.
Did Charter make the playoffs last year?
Yeah, they made the playoffs.
Who they play?
We don't want to talk about that.
Oh. What division were they in?
They were Division 7, and then they lost Rio Hondo Prep in the first round.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
This game is like people like to bring that up a lot, but you know, Rio Hondo deserved to win. They played tough. They were well coached. I mean, Charter has its coaching issues last year. But they replaced all this, so it's a different team.
Do you think that Division 7 was perfect for them?
I thought it was, yeah.
Okay.
I thought it was, yeah. I mean, for the season they had, I mean, they went 5-5.
Okay.
They could have easily competed in that division, which they did, but I mean, Rio Hondo Prep just beat them. But
okay.
Like I said, you know, I don't take any. People like to take away from, you know, they make it sound like you know, like Charter Oak blew it, or you know, they didn't deserve, because like Rio Hondo deserved to win. It's like it was more that Charter Oak blew it, that hey, maybe Rio Hondo deserved to win. They played well.
Yeah.
They played well. They're a small school, and they played their butts off.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there for the warm up. When I thought it was like, you know, when special teams comes out first, and then you know, the everyone else comes out.
All roll out.
I thought it was. That was their, you know, just the special teams, but that was their whole team. They had like 20 players.
Oh wow!
And they rolled, huh?
And they played their hearts out. Okay. I mean, they had some really good players. They had a really good two really good running backs, a really good special teams player, and some kid who just signed with who did he sign with? Cal Division 1, I think it was Cal.
Nice.
Yeah, McCulloch or something like that. So I mean, it's not like they didn't have players, but like I said, at Charter Oak, it was a different team.
Okay.
And this year is a different. Yeah, no one's worried about that anymore because new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator, LeVar Arrington, defensive coordinator.
That's right.
Secondary coach.
How you like that? How would you like that?
O-line coach, shout out Sherm.
Yeah, Sherm, Coach Sherm.
How would you like to have LeVar Arrington as your DC?
That'd be different.
He's intense.
I would imagine.
He's really intense. But like I said,
let's bring him down. Bring him on the
all,
show.
I mean, I'll put a word.
Put out a word. Let's get Harrington here. Tell him a Buckeye wants to talk to that Penn State dude. Okay, cool. Let's move on to this all this nil and transfer portal. Do you think this is transferring over to the high school level? I mean, because the last 2 years, the transfer business in high school football here is exploded. So is it hurting high school football, or is it a good thing that a kid can go, I'm not playing here, I'm going to go and play there? What do you guys think?
I mean, did you say if, or is it going to? I think it has. I
know it has.
Yeah.
It has exploded. But is it a good thing? Is the transfer business
It's
going
a
a good thing?
It's a tough
what
one.
happened, like growing up with your boys and playing with your boys through high school, the loyalty with your boys, or how about we'll play 2 years and let's jump 8 and go play somewhere else?
It sounds like Jim has something on this. We got Jim.
Yeah, no, I definitely I definitely believe in loyalty, and think that what I'm hearing is, and I spent a couple years in education. I've substitute taught, so I've been in classrooms with kids, and I think that experience actually helped me. When I go out to cover games, because I realize, like, when I'm interviewing a coach after a game, they're on their 16th hour of the day, But going back to staying on topic, I like it that kids now are like, okay, if they don't like something or they get demoted to second string, it's just like, oh, I need to get out of here. Well, it's like, part of the high school experience is learning life lessons on how to prepare for yourself when you're an adult. Now, every single time that you don't like something, are you going to just quit your job?
It's going to run away.
That's what a lot of these kids are. I think they don't realize, and the adults or whoever's in charge of it that's letting them leave like that. It's like you're not setting a good example for these kids.
The parents.
But you say that because I see a lot of these kids that transferring back to the school that actually left. You see that. So someone's not advising these kids, right? Or I don't know what to say about that. I don't know.
It's the multiple ones. It's like, that's the one I have a problem with. Honestly, I can go either way on this. I get it. No. Like, I see what you're saying, Jim, and I get the other way, the other side too. Like, it's just the way I see it is I'm okay with everyone like a one-time transfer to me. That makes sense to me, and I get that. It's like, hey, so maybe you got off to a bad start, or you're way down the depth chart, and you have a small window. You have a 4-year window to play high school athletics. If you want to play football, who should anyone else be to be like, hey, go do it? If you guys do it the right way, you have to change your address, you want to move. If you're that dedicated to doing it, go do it.
Yeah, but some of these kids are going to three different high schools.
That's where it's like, you're second, third. There's a couple that have been second, third, 3-time, 4 transfers before they're freshmen and before they've even stepped foot on campus.
Yeah,
they've transferred 3-4 times.
Yeah, those are weird because how do you even grasp concept of what each system is trying to do? Like, the kid's not going to have any clue what he's doing. It's like one school does this, the other school does that.
It's just going to continue for the rest of his life.
Do you think it's obviously this started with college with the transfer portal and the NIL and all that. How is this affecting high school kids? Obviously, what about recruiting? Because these college kids they're transferring in the portal, and the college kids are going to the portal before they're going to look at high school kids. Wow. So is the recruiting slacking off for high school kids to play football in college?
I think with the college transfer, I think it's more of a set of if a kid decides to get into, I believe, or in my understanding, if the kid decides to transfer, once he's in that transfer portal, it's up to the coach to allow him back or not. I think with high school, it needs to be a set rule because a lot of people go around the moving, the address, and you got one school or one player that is allowed to play and another player that has to sit out 5 games, and nobody knows why.
And nobody knows why.
Nobody knows. So I think
there's no clear protocol. It doesn't seem like.
Yeah, there was just today or yesterday there was a couple that got approved,
and then one that didn't.
And one didn't. He's got to sit for 5.
So I think I'm like with Mark, like, kids can transfer, okay. Like, it might be a certain situation, that's fine, but it should just be a set rule. If you transfer once, you get one good one. If you transfer twice, no matter what, moving or not, you sit out 5 games. If you transfer 3 times, sit out 8 games. Like, that should just be
the kid that got
a set thing. Just make it a set thing.
I think the kid that got set for 5 was a transfer from out of state, too.
Probably.
Or have, like, a set number of transfers you could bring in at a certain school.
At school, yeah.
And that's the cap. Like, you cannot bring, like,
that's
teens.
tough because, right, technically the head coach isn't supposed to know, right?
I should too.
Right? So you can't, how can you enforce that? They're supposed to just, supposedly they show up on campus and,
because of the influence, the undue influence, right?
Right? So, like, how do you control that? So I think the other one you're saying is, I think that makes more sense. Like, it's just a set rule. You're allowed one-time transfer. Okay? You do it again, now you're automatically, no matter what, whatever, you're about 5 games.
No matter what.
Something like that makes way more sense.
And I think it goes where people don't have to be sneaky anymore. You don't have to try to be sneaky.
Eliminate all that.
You're not doing handshakes over the table. Like, hey, how you doing?
I got a kid coming in. It's going to be a first transfer. He's good. Okay. Like, it's all set. It doesn't matter if you moved, staying with auntie or uncle, whatever. Like, it's just set rule. Oh, I got a kid that's coming in and he transferred twice. He has to sit. Like, that's just, and that may be deter a kid where they got to know, in high school, I can only go one place, so let me make this decision.
That solves about what you were talking about, being loyal and being able, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I you know, there's a lot of people that talk about, you know, the old days when, you know, like if you were to just take Burbank or Glendale, you know, one side of town is, you know, you go to one school, and the other side of town you go to the other school, and I mean, the rivalry was probably it definitely was more intense in those days because, you know, it really was a true city championship. You know, now you get kids that, you know, even at the public schools, you know, a lot of kids are on permits from other areas. Everyone's trying to go to a better place than, you know.
Sometimes the grass isn't greener on the other side either.
That's true too.
You said you lived in Charter Oak for 15 years. Could you imagine your son going to another school?
No, I couldn't.
And
because he's like, I mean, he loves Charter Oak.
Yeah, right?
So I mean, it would take something like really drastic to happen. So if he needed the one time, then maybe that makes sense. Maybe he's buried on the depth chart. As it is right now, he's working his way up the depth chart.
Okay.
Right? So, but maybe he's just buried on the depth chart. Maybe he has a coach that doesn't get along with, doesn't like, for whatever reason, and he just wants to play ball, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand that too. So maybe his senior year he transfers to just like Covina or something, right?
Yeah.
And he gets a better chance to play or a different opportunity. But you're right. But maybe he doesn't.
Yeah, because then you have to be strategic on what school to go to.
Yeah.
Right? Because the coach could be feeding you a lot, and all of a sudden you get there and it's not what you thought it was, and then you just ruined your one transfer.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you have to sit.
And I gotta
You have to sit.
So then I got a question, being that we're talking about like the kids leaving. So if you are the head coach and your kid is wanting to leave, what are we doing, or what are you guys doing to like, you know, like you said, the grass is not as green. What are the tactics behind that, keeping them?
You know, you're a head coach, but I mean, you actually can't tell the kid. You can tell the kid what you need to do. We love to say you love you to stay, but if he wants to go, what can you do?
We had a kid transfer out. He went to one school. I think he's at Upland now. We got our incoming freshman is at Almont, I believe. I mean, if a kid wants to transfer out, that's easy.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
If the kid doesn't want to be.
Yeah, that's the easy one. Because I think it's the morale. Like, the kids know if a kid is not 100% in, and you know, if he doesn't want to be there, and then the parents like, you don't want any trouble. It's just I'm just cut ties. I'm okay with that. If a kid ever wants to leave, he can always go, because, like you said, eventually the grass is not always greener, and they'll see.
Right.
You know.
I was curious, like, how exactly does that work? Because do you get paperwork as a head coach? Because I've heard that the school that he transferred from needs to sign off on that.
The school does, yeah.
They do need to sign off.
But they have to, like, say if he played or not. So if a kid transfers from my school, the AD will put down if he actually played football with us or not, or if he participated, and then that's it. Like, I don't fill out any paperwork, but the AD will say,
and he
like,
takes care of that.
Yeah, he take care of that, and then that's it.
Can it be contested?
It can, because probably a lot of people don't know, like, CIF really don't care about transfers. It's the schools that care. So if he left my school and I know that he didn't move, then I can...
And you're losing that enrollment.
Yeah.
Then I can say to CIF, or I can say to somebody, he's not moving. And that's where, you know, you do a home visit, or you go by that new address and see, and you give all your information to CIF so they can block it, kind of thing. But schools do that. CIF don't send people out. They do not send people out.
Self-policing.
Yeah.
That's a big issue with,
and that's why
Burbank and Burroughs.
And that's why
We had that with
some schools. They know that the kid didn't move, but they're not going to self-police themselves. So
they just
they're
sign
not.
off.
Yeah, just sign off. Right?
So it would take someone who has to. A coach would have to be a little bit vindictive.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not happy about this, or maybe not want to set an example to the rest of them. Right? He's we're not gonna make this easy on you.
And don't you think that's why you see this kid got blocked and this kid didn't, and this kid got blocked?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting at. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
I mean, I think so.
Because didn't we just have transfer from Claremont to Glendora? He just got
sit out.
So he sit out 5 games. So that has to start with the coach.
Yeah, I think
the coach or the AD, I guess.
I think it will have to start with the
someone
coach.
has to
from the.
If nothing else, if no one contests it, nothing signs off, the kid they sign it off and they do, right? Because the CIF has probably a pile a foot high of these things that they don't want to deal with. They just want to get through them.
Exactly.
Until someone says something and a red flag goes up.
Exactly.
So that's why I was wondering. So now we kind of know.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Did we figure it out if it's a good thing or bad thing?
Man, I don't know. Like I said, I think.
It's like everything. There's advantages and disadvantages to everything. So
I mean, I don't have a problem with someone like wanting to better their situation.
Yeah, there are some kids that it changes and betters and
Just sometimes I feel like they run away from the competition.
There's that too.
I'm a second stringer, but I can't be a first stringer.
So I'm going to go to a lesser
So I'm just going to go to another school.
And where does that start with?
I think that starts at home.
Starts at home. Yeah,
Because
right.
when I was in high school, I was at Cathedral. We would get maybe tops 2-3 transfers a year. That was it. But now we're talking about like the 20s, the 30s for some of these big schools, and it's like it's crazy.
There's a lot of transfers going
like,
on right now.
Like Alamany, what happened? Weren't they just on life support? Like
what was the story
their
with
program
Alamany?
was supposed to be on life support. All of a sudden, they got 70 kids out there.
I don't know what's going on.
I mean, I know that they haven't had a lower level at least past couple years, but I mean, they had a squad last year. Past couple years, I just don't know where they got those numbers from. What was reported last week? Because I mean, 3 months ago on Spaces, on Twitter, all that stuff. I mean, the program was dead.
Right.
Yeah. Now it's like out of nowhere they got so many kids.
And I just heard they're talking. I guess on the Spaces that just was on Friday, they were talking about not only do they have a team, but they're legit.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Well,
they're
Tark
big up
had
front.
him
They got
number 6.
They got a running back from Damien, the Claiborne kid, I think.
Oh, yeah.
They got Saran from Lucerna. They got a quarterback from Lucerna now.
Saran, right? CJ Saran.
Yeah.
So there they are. They're right back in it. I can't imagine them just not. They feel the need to compete. Right?
That's an arms race in that.
That's
exactly
league. Exactly.
That mission league.
I think
we'll get to the mission league.
Yeah. Speaking of transfers, I think I do remember several years back that there was one kid that actually went to 4 different Mission League schools 1 year at each school, and it was like, I mean, and it was a running back, and I just thought to myself, gosh, I mean, I can't imagine if I was a college recruiter looking at this kid, would I want a kid that I know isn't going to be loyal to my program?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, if he's going to transfer
in college too, so
I mean, if he's going to transfer 4 times in high school, it's like I wouldn't recruit the kid. I don't care how good he is.
It's not a good
look.
look.
That's the thing. I think the coaches don't care. I don't think college coaches care, right?
Probably not, because it's a year-to-year thing. I mean, do you think coaches are looking 4 years down? If I get a kid there for 1 year, and he's that good,
or is it just a California thing or a Southern California thing where I don't know the other states?
Well, I'm from Ohio. You don't see this transfer stuff going in Ohio.
No.
You don't see that stuff. Yeah, you don't rivals kids transferring to rivals and back and forth. Can you imagine Ohio State guy transferring to a Michigan school?
That's crazy.
That's like I don't understand how kids will do that, but that's me.
No, that's a normal Wednesday, right?
Yeah, I mean that's I don't.
Agency period.
Yeah, exactly.
It just needs to be more rule. Like I think
It's
kids should transfer if they wanted to, like you said, but it needs to be like a set rule.
But it's carried. I mean, I don't know if it's carried over to the college. The college is trickled down. You know,
I do think the college part is
because college is the wild, wild west, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a free for all.
I really think that the college portal has really hurt high school recruiting. Because now they just go to the portal first, and if they fill what they need, those high school kids are am I going to play? And then they got to go JUCO route. Mm-hmm. So.
But speaking of the JUCO route, I have actually seen before. I mean, obviously it's not very common, but there are a few cases of kids who, let's say they didn't get along with their high school coach and opted not to play at the high school level and just stayed as a student, and then without playing football, and then they went to the JC level, did well there, and then ended up going to Division I.
Oh yeah,
I've seen a few of those. I mean, it's not super common, but it does happen.
Well, who was it this year was talking about? He was going to sit out and not play. He already had a scholarship. Who was
that? Kid from
Nico,
Nico?
Right?
Yeah.
Is that what we were talking about?
He's got a scholarship or something. He was going to sit out.
Yeah, he's committed to Tennessee, and you know what? That was the thing. That was the speculation because I guess the dad just didn't say anything, right? They were quiet about it, and
I wonder if the college had something to say
he transferred to Long Beach Poly.
Oh, didn't he go back?
And then he went back. He's back at Warren now, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
so they were saying that maybe he wasn't going to play at all.
Oh, okay.
Which honestly, with the NIL money, if you have $5 million waiting for you, let's say whatever that amount is, what's the incentive to play high school?
That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, luckily there's only a handful of those type of.
I wonder if Tennessee had something to say. Don't play.
I don't know. Maybe.
So he doesn't get hurt.
Or whoever's carrying the bag has something to say, right?
Yeah, whoever's got the money. Well, all right. Let's change directions now. This is the 2022 high school football preview show. So I want to talk before we get into the leagues. How was off season? How was spring? How was summer? How was camp?
Definitely. At least this was like my first full off season, because going back to like the whole COVID year, that was short, quick, a lot of on the fly, like trying to learn. Then we got into the 2021 season, which I think was 2-3 months break, and then we got into the actual season.
When you guys do off season, like you guys finished last season, all right, you're done. Last game. How long do you take to get back into it? Is it next week? These guys get in the weight room, or do you guys wait till like January and kick it off in January?
January.
Is that what you guys do at Chaminade?
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, once we're done, I go back to work, but I think the kids have some lifts at least that they finish the semester with, and then restart. I think January, whenever the semester starts.
Yeah. So go ahead. But how was summer?
No, I think it's great. It's a lot of like teaching the fundamentals, especially because we got the young guys coming up. So you want to get them, exposed to the muscle memory, what we expect from them, and set the expectations high. That was when we start going into this season. Now you can really just start fine tuning everything. So personally, at least for the O-line, was a lot of technical stuff: hand placement, foot placement, hat placement, how to use your leverage, how to determine which step you're going to take, things like that. And now that we're going to be rolling into the season, now it's just, okay, let's put in this game time situation, scenarios. If this guy spikes, what are we going to do? Things like that. Yeah. So as far as myself personally, I feel like it's great. I think for the whole program wide, I think it's been a good thing. And we're rolling into it, ready to go.
So Montclair's ready to go, huh?
Not yet, huh? I mean, it's
but it's here. It's week 0. You got
who do you open up?
Who do you open up with?
Village Christian. Shout out to Brew.
I didn't even realize that. I wish he was going to be here tonight. That would have been outstanding. Brew, you're fired.
No, I mean, it's Montclair is a school that is not a football school. So we're changing the culture a little bit, and our confidence level is high after what we did last year, which is a good thing. But we just gotta, we're not like other schools. So when coach is talking about fine tuning technique, that's what it's all about for us in spring and summer.
How'd the kids deal with the climate? Because it's pretty hot out there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, it's hot here in Burbank.
It's hot, and I mean, kids. I don't know about other schools.
You don't let them complain and say it's hot, do you? Once they say it's hot,
I mean, you get your kids that don't show up, but I think we do a good job as we're going along as holding kids accountable. Yep. And if they miss practice, they just got to make it up and go from there. So I think we're doing a good job. We're getting them going. A lot of kids, we got a lot of new kids that never played football before on all levels. So we went, recruiting the hallways and everything.
That's awesome.
Do you have a good participation during the spring?
We do. We have a good participation, but like I said, like.
Because I'm an advocate where all these kids should not specialize. They should play other sports. Do you have a lot of kids that play other sports?
Yeah, I encourage that. I encourage kids to play other sports because a lot of the kids that on our team do play other sports. They're not a football team or football kids. So they might have maybe 3 years max of playing football.
Well, those are the best athletes.
We'll see.
That can play several sports.
Oh, yes.
Succeed at those sports.
But here's the problem:
you can just jump into one sport after playing another sport and play.
But here's the problem: imagine teaching half your team what the simple football terms are. Yeah. Like we preach mental, like football IQ. Like that's the main thing. Like the kids need to know what football is. They don't even watch football.
Just the game. Yeah, because these kids don't watch games on TV.
So other schools,
they don't learn it.
Other schools have kids that have played Pop Warner, maybe transferred and came in. Their family or it's like a uncle, brother played football. Our kids do not have we're not like that. That's why when we have the kids that we have and we have the success that we have, it feels good because we're actually teaching the game. So, we're going in there. I was like, okay, we have kids, never played, but hey, we're getting them into it. We're getting them acclimated. They're learning. The season's coming up. And then if we do good, or, like last year and this year coming up, then we have a great coaching staff. And I think we do have a good coaching staff. We don't get transfers that come in. And if we do get a transfer, it's like 5'9", kind of thing. So nobody's contesting that,
Your head coach is like, if I'm going to transfer, why can't I get a 6'4", 240?
Yeah, I mean,
nothing.
6'4", 240. So what about a Chaminade? Do a lot of kids play Do they play different sports? Or are they specialized in football? Like out on the football team, are they specialized?
There's a handful of guys that only play football, but we have a lot of wrestlers, track guys, a few basketball players, baseball players, lacrosse. Lacrosse is a big one. We've always had
that's not real big here in Southern
We've always had
California.
a good amount of kids who play lacrosse, and that's a big one. But I mean, we have a lot linemen, running backs who play who do wrestling, so it helps us out. I mean, because we could build up depth when those guys are not there. We get the other guys involved, and
wrestling's good for football.
Yeah,
Burbank's gonna have wrestling next year for the first time.
Really?
Boys and girls.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but they're going to be the only team in Pacific League to have it. So maybe they're going to be calling Chaminade, and
They'll probably. I haven't talked to Patrick on that yet. I do know that Hoover has one, although.
Yeah.
And they compete in the Rio Hondo, so they'll probably that would be the most obvious place for Burbank to go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's preview some of these leagues here. Let's start with Mission League. Let's start with the Mission League. Okay. We have Mr. Lemus over here at Chaminade. 5-5 last year. It's Machuca's first year. What's the difference between Grossen and Machuca?
Well, Crozen is he's probably one of the best coaches probably ever. And
He was there for what? He was there for years. Like
he's there for a long time.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've continued to do the stuff that Crozen has brought to the program as far as fundamentals go and just the way to practice and stuff. But Machuca has brought more of a urgency, at least on offense. We're going a little bit faster now, so that's probably a little bit of the difference. Besides that, you wouldn't be able to tell too much that there has been a change.
Difference.
Yeah, I mean the staff has been together probably since I've been there. This is the longest tenured staff we've had there for a while, so we kind of know each other pretty well. So it's just it's a tough schedule, so we got to do as much as we can with the time we have.
What do you think Chaminade's strength is? What's your team strength?
Oh man, O-line and D-line.
That is what Machuca.
O-line and D-line are
Saw the
probably
picture.
we are pretty deep at that position. We have I want to say we average about 6'4" on the line.
Nice,
so
nice.
And got a
Yeah, we got different from Montclair.
we got some on our D line. We got a couple big guys. Pretty much all juniors, I think, on the D line. As far as our packages go, there's one senior we have. But besides that, we're pretty young.
You guys did have a transfer in for quarterback, right?
Yeah.
Is he
we had
slated
two.
as a starter?
We had two. So we had one from Notre Dame, and then we had one from Lawndale. Believe the Notre Dame guy might be the starter come this
Breaking
week.
news.
What's his name?
No, I think it's been well known.
Javance?
Javance. Yeah.
Defensively, you run the same stuff like at Burbank when you were there?
It's a variation. We're mostly a four-man front right now.
You're sending blitzes, right?
You know what? When I got to Chaminade the first couple times, I try to bring a blitz. It's a little different. You can't do that stuff because the teams are so well coached. And
Lemus is known for sending me texts late at night. Oh, we're running this blitz. I see sends me a picture of the play and we're blitzing here. We're blitzing here.
Yeah, and we still have some of that stuff in there. I mean, it hasn't changed much, but we just cannot do what we were doing at Burbank. The teams are so well coached. The athletes are so much faster.
They make the changes quicker too.
Yeah, it's really it's hard to do that kind of stuff.
Let's walk through your schedule here. You guys start out with Oaks, then you got J. Sarah and Birmingham Charter and Crespi. First 4 games.
Yeah, and I believe after that we have Loyola. So
yes, you do. You have Loyola. So those
200 player team, right? That's all.
Yeah,
on Twitter.
Yeah, freshmen,
like
200 freshmen, or something like that.
Crazy.
That's a formidable flow to walk.
Yeah, just to get us into league. Yeah, Oaks is always well coached. They got a lot of athletes. They got a good running back this year. Got a two transfers at quarterback. So I'm really not sure who's playing on Friday night. But
yeah,
it's a tough game. I mean, last year we beat them by about. It was not close, I think, after halftime. But it's a big rivalry game in the area. So it's a good way to start the season and.
Yeah, then you bounce right back with Jay Sarah.
Yeah, see that's a newbie right there.
They're loaded too, aren't they?
They're loaded.
They have like a lot of returning starters on defense and offense.
They got a big O line from what I hear. a good running back. Special teams are pretty good as well. But that's going to be a tough matchup. A Trinity League team this early in the year.
Yeah.
That's
even
big
if
time.
even if it is the last place team, I believe they were last in the Trinity last year. I could be wrong, but I believe that's.
The good thing about
probably
that game,
better get it earlier than later.
The good thing is we don't have to travel down there. They have to come to us, so we're we got lucky there. And then after that, Birmingham runs pretty much they're in the city section, and they're always good. So those are pretty good matchups for us to start the season. Get us ready for league.
Then you get you get through those 5. Then you hit the league where you got Alamany, Notre Dame, Sherman Oaks, Bishop Amat, Sierra Canyon, and Sarah. That's death row coming down that. I mean Bishop and Sierra Canyon are going to be.
Amat's always
loaded
tough.
this year.
Amat's always tough when we have to go to La Puente and play.
Well, you got to stop that running back.
So you guys are at keeper this year?
Yeah, I think this is the 2 years in a row we're going to be at Kiefer, I believe.
Yeah.
How does that work out?
It just the way the schedule was balanced out, but that's a tough place to play. It's probably one of the last fields that has grass, and it's a long drive from West Hills. It's I would say an hour and a half on a Friday.
They have a heck of a crowd. They have a heck of a crowd.
Yeah.
They tailgate.
Yeah, they tailgate. It's a very intimidating place to play. But
there's a 12th man thing going on in the corner.
Oh man,
they sell kettle corn, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and then I think we have Sarah too right after that. That's a big time.
Well, yeah,
game.
I mean you're playing Bishop and then you're playing Sierra Canyon right back to back. You better hope you don't have any injuries that week.
Yeah, that's like why we got to build up depth, because those kind of games right there, you find out a lot about your players.
Yeah,
then
you got Sierra Canyon. It's their first year in the mission. They were in Gold Coast last year.
Yeah, we got rid of Cathedral, and so Sierra Canyon jumps in for them. So, they've always played a kind of an independent schedule. So.
Yeah,
we should see how that game goes. We're close by. I mean, it's
they're another
drive.
Sierra's another team that's got a lot of new guys coming in, a lot of transfers.
They're unapologetic about it.
They're
trying to get to that modern day.
They're trying to get in that league.
They're trying to get in.
Yeah,
that's where they're heading, right?
yeah, they're going straight that path.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at. Who do you guys think's coming out of the Mission League? I mean, I know you can't say anything. You're Chaminade. You're going to be Chaminade coming out of there. You have to do that. But, I mean, Sierra Canyon, Bishop, I mean... What do you think?
Well,
you're an opinionator. Come on. What do you think? Who's coming out of the Mission League this year?
If I had to say, I would say Amat, right?
Well, to me, it's a... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, three-team...
It's a
three-team race right there. And then Sierra Canyon, from what I'm doing, they just got two transfers from out of state.
That's what I heard.
6'4", 300, 6'5", 290. So I mean, they're unapologetic. They're going for it. So I mean, they're going to have size. They're going to have athletes.
Your league comes down to the last week of the season. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think we'll have a better idea once, maybe even sooner, maybe week 8, because we all play each other previous to that. So it's going to be those last 2 weeks are tough.
Because I think it comes down to Chaminade, Bishop, and Sarah, and
Bishop they're running out a new quarterback. It's another Richie Munoz.
I believe he played safety last year too.
Yeah.
He's a hell of an athlete.
We're gonna find out early.
He's all league, right? He's all league.
Yeah.
But he's playing quarterback. So I assume he adds a different dimension.
Yeah.
I mean, because they have a couple different quarterbacks. One of them
they have a passer. One came from San Marino or something like that.
And but he's going to get the job from what I understand, and I assume he adds an extra dimension to that offense, who already has an awesome running back in Aiden Ramos.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He's a tough kid, man.
Yeah.
Tough kid to bring down.
But they're going to find because Bishop plays Valencia the first week, so we'll see how that kid adjusts to being the starter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're going to find out, right? Well, they're going to throw him in there right away and see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, they have some depth there.
But they got. We saw them during a tournament down in Long Beach, and they were, they had a lot of kids. I mean, that's the thing is depth. In our league, at least, like if you don't have numbers, it gets pretty hard
and size
to compete. Yeah, you need the size, because if you can't win in the trenches, it gets difficult, like any level of football. But especially in this league,
you can compete there, right? I mean, you have size.
Yeah, we have size. The only thing that hurts us is our defensive backfield. It's all sophomores with the exception of a junior who's an all-league guy for 2 past years. So, we are starting a lot of young guys back there. So
which in the beginning of the year, that's that inexperience.
We'll find out how it goes.
Out.
But I mean, I think they're up to it. We just got to bear with it right now.
What about Sherman Oaks Notre Dame this year? You guys hear about anything about them? They had a
lost a lot of
rough year
guys
last year.
They lost a lot of guys, I think.
2-8 last year, 1-4 in the mission last year, so they lost a lot of guys.
I think they lost guys to Pasadena.
Well, you guys got their quarterback, right?
Yeah. I believe they have a sophomore quarterback, from what I think I heard, and so I don't think they took in I don't believe he's a transfer. So the kid that they lost, I believe, it's as a result of the 10th grade quarterback that I guess a lot of people are pretty high on. But I think this is now, what is it, probably the third year that Rooney's been retired now. And, of course, McNabb is, one of his longtime assistants. And so, I don't know. I know they probably, aren't, thrilled about, whatever it was, 2-8 or 1-9 or whatever it was last year. So
2-8 last year.
2-8, yeah. So I would think that they're gonna, really push hard to, obviously make, be more respectable.
Yeah, I say we covered Alameda earlier. We don't know what's going. The other
They
team
could
is.
be up there.
Yeah, they could. You never know. I mean,
They're
a couple of guys have them ranked in the top 10. So, but and the last one is Bishop. I mean, they Valencia, La Habra, then they got Bosco. So they start off pretty good with the games, and then they got week 6.
You would know that area always has like tough kids out there.
Yeah.
That they're always tough-minded and physically tough kids, and you get into a 12-round fight with those guys. You're gonna go the full 12 and.
That Damien game is going to be a
they
good
got
game.
Damien, yeah.
It's tough.
You don't think so?
No.
Blow 'em out, huh? Yeah.
That'll be over at halftime.
But
I know,
go ahead.
One of the Damien, I want to say their tackles, went to school with my daughter. He's going to be a junior. And I was talking to him yesterday, actually. And he was saying, they have a good, they like the quarterback and the running back. They have an O-line that's kind of, the experience is not there. Kind of thing, but he thinks they're going to be okay though.
They have 3 O-line returning.
Yeah, talk to the dad is like, they should be okay with the O-line, but I think what I like, what I don't. I mean, Bechtel, I don't know Bechtel a little bit, but I think what's different from last year to this year is that you don't hear anything about them. So I would say that might be in Damien's favor because of the fact that they're not how they were last year. They're a little bit like. Reserve, and I heard that he got rid of the media and videos, and all that stuff. But I think that might be a good thing in their favor. They're just hey, let's just.
They're still getting hype from a lot of guys. They were 3-7 last year,
and they did get some transfers in, kind of thing. So
Robledo, he has them ranked number 2.
Yeah, he does, and they got a new DC. I know Stu's a good. He does a good job, man. He's a very smart coach.
Yeah, they definitely have a good quarterback. They have a good running back. They have players. I mean, they have players, and they put in work. I know that. Like I said, I tend to bash Damien. But honestly, I wish the kid's the best. It has nothing to do with the kid.
I think we'll know that Pasadena game, right? When they play that Pasadena game,
that's to me that's the biggest. That's week 2, I think.
Yeah.
That's or week 1. That's the second or the first, September 1st.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the biggest game in the area.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a good segue. Let's go to the Pacific League. Let's talk Pasadena. What Pasadena? your Coach Maxey's over there at offense, and they finished 8-2 last year. They got all sorts of transfers coming back home. So they got Cameron Mitchell at receiver.
They got the transfer. They got Balin Brooks.
Balin Brooks, yeah, they got him.
Loyola.
They're certainly going to have the weapons to play.
Yeah. They're no doubt they're loaded. Pasadena is loaded.
Yeah, I think the league's definitely not what it was before. So that preseason schedule for them is the test.
Yeah, they got Lucerna, they got Glendora, Damien, Loyola, and Colony.
Yeah.
Well, Maxey has said that. He said that when they got to the playoffs, they weren't ready for the physicality of Aquinas.
Oh,
right?
really?
That's what he said. That was his opinion. It was something they hadn't seen.
Okay.
So what he also said was that he wants to put. That's why he wanted that schedule loaded in the front.
Okay.
He wanted to be tested by the time they got to
they're
playoffs.
Because he knows that they'll be. They'll win the league.
Yeah, they're not straying away from nothing. They want to be tested.
They
want to know where
think
they
they're
stand.
running right through Pac League.
And
Do you
admire
think
that.
so, Burbank?
No, Pasadena, they think they are.
No, but you think they
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they are. I mean, obviously,
have to see it.
Mears guy had a good team last year. I mean, obviously the league hasn't been what we've been accustomed to.
Yeah, definitely.
Burbank, we were 3-7 last year. We didn't make the playoffs for the first time since I've been there. So, obviously So we got some work to do to get back into the playoffs. So we're fighting for that third spot. When everybody says,
How's CV looking?
Yeah, I mean, I think the last, now that I'm seeing, it looks like Pasadena and Muir are going back to the tradition of what it used to be. They're not losing as many kids, or kids are coming back home, and it's going to be hard for anybody to break Pasadena and Muir for those top two spots. It's just they just have athletes that. Sometimes it's unbelievable because I'll see guys that there'll be games where they'll put up 15 to 20 penalties and they'll still win.
I mean, we kind of had that last year when we played them.
And it's just there's been some games against Muir over that I've covered, and I just like on my stat sheet, I'm trying to keep up how many yards of penalties they have, and it'll sometimes go into the 200s, and yet the athletes they have, they're just. Muir's they still have some kids that are very, very good. The one kid that when I saw him as a freshman, I couldn't believe him. He's going to be a junior this year. Teron Williams. He's I guess he was like playing as like the last man, like your safety. When he was like a freshman, and I think now he lists himself at like 6'3", 190. They had listed him in the program at 6'4", 200 as a freshman.
Wow.
But whatever it is, if he's 6'3", 190 and he stays that height, I mean that's just I mean, and you just look at his just the way he's built physically, and it's just like, I mean, you can't help but think how good this kid could be. And,
but certainly on paper they are the team to beat in the Pacific League, obviously.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that it'll come down to that last game in Rose Bowl.
Right.
I would think.
Have you heard anything about CV?
CV is that they had a tough year last year. They're young. I mean, you got anything on CV?
CV, I do know that they did get a kid from Hoover that was. It was actually a decent. It was a kid that was going to be competing for the quarterback job at Hoover, and the kid's grown. And I heard he's like 6'3" now. And the last I heard, they were going to put him at receiver. So the kid has. Beyond that, I don't know.
Is he cleared?
I mean,
he's going to CV. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, to me, CV and Arcadia, they're kind of the same. I mean, they're young. They got to fill a lot of holes from last year. Even though last year they were, I mean, CV was 2-7, and then Arcadia was, I think, they were below us, and we were 3-7.
Oh, really?
So
how's John?
How's John?
John at
Burroughs.
At Burroughs. Oh, John. Burroughs.
It's a habit.
I haven't seen Burroughs yet, but I'd have to say that, Keith Knoop helps out there, and he's still the athletic director, and regardless of who the head coach is, as long as Keith is there, they're going to be okay because he still has those kids for weight training, and he's obviously an outstanding defensive coach, and so I think he's kind of like the coach emeritus at Burroughs, and so I think as long as he's around, I don't think Burroughs will. That Burroughs is always going to be competitive.
Yeah, and I think it's there's Pasadena and there's Muir. And, we're fighting for that third spot, and I think it's going to come down just like it was last year between Burroughs and Burbank to win that third spot. Yeah. Fortunately for them, they won the game last year in the fourth quarter, and we walked out of the playoffs.
Yeah, that game's always a
and
toss-up.
it's a toss-up, and no matter what the records are for those teams. So.
Yeah, I mean, these last 3 years, I think Burroughs has won 2, and I honestly thought that.
Yeah,
I thought Burbank was the favorite going in. All 3.
In all 3, yeah, we were. And 2 years ago, well, we won the COVID year,
right?
And then they won the what was it?
The year before, that was the one that that one. Burbank was a heavy favorite, and
they scored and won the game into the last play of the game.
Right. So,
all right, let's move on to the Foothill League.
Up in Santa Clarita.
Yeah, I think to me, it's it came down to Saugus and West Ranch last year, and West Ranch finally made it over the hill, and they beat Valencia, didn't they, last year?
I believe so.
I think they made it, and
I have covered back when Burbank and Burroughs were in the league, but even after I have there was one year about maybe a decade ago that I covered quite a few games up in the Santa Clarita Valley, and I will say that the coach at Saugus, Jason Bourne, who's still there,
he's in his 20th year. Going into his
20th year. He is a great coach at clock management. Mm-hmm. Those kids were they're just really like on punts and special teams. I mean, they knew exactly how to work the clock. And
West Ranch and Saugus, to me, they're very similar teams to me. The way they approach the game, the kids know what their IQ is very high.
Mm-hmm.
They approach the game very similar and very disciplined. And over the years as we played them, I see those teams as very similar. And they're a lot like CV, the way CV plays.
Methodical.
They're always going to show up. They're going to be prepared. They know what they're doing. And I think West Ranch and
I haven't seen West Ranch this year at all on the circuits, but we did see Saugus, and Saugus has, they got some good looking players out there. I think the MVP of the league, the defensive MVP of the league, was a former player of ours that transferred over there. So I mean, they look pretty good.
Yeah, West Ranch was real good. We Charter Oak played them in
we scrimmaged them too.
7-7.
We scrimmaged
they have athletes, and I mean they have a solid quarterback who I think is
he's going to Colorado,
recruit, right? Yeah,
he's going to Colorado.
Really? Yeah,
his name's Ryan Staub.
And
he's
good.
They have a big they got a big dude on. He's a tackle, offense tackle, and a defense tackle. He's going to SMU.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we scrimmaged him in 11-11, and I walked up to him and I said, "How big are you?" He goes 6'7". It's massive.
6'7".
He goes 6'7", and the other DN guy, who's not small himself, he goes, and he's just a freshman too. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Wow.
But yeah, he's not a freshman. So he that weekend he I guess went to SMU and he committed to go to SMU. So,
6'7".
But yeah, West Ranch is Coach Varner's. He knows what he's doing out there. He's in his 7th season
I believe he was at Canyon before, wasn't he?
He was at Canyon, yeah, and I like Coach Varner. He's a good guy, and Jason Bourne, like you said, methodical, very knows what he's doing. What about Valencia? What are they?
They're always Valencia and Hart are always well coached teams. I mean, those veteran coaches, coaching staffs, and stuff like that. Those teams are going to be prepared every Friday night. I mean, it's there's no doubt about it. I mean,
they have a new quarterback coming in, right? I think did they lose their quarterback?
I'm not too sure. We scrimmaged them on Thursday night, and we saw a lot of run. Didn't see too much pass.
Was his name Voss? Is that who
he left? He graduated.
Okay, all right.
He graduated, and his brother, I believe, graduated too, or he might still be there. But they're well coached, tough team, and that coaching staff. From what I remember, they've been there forever. So
I remember coaching Valencia covering Valencia in its very first year, I think, of varsity football, and Burroughs beat them, and it was a shootout. One of the kids from Burroughs had 7 touchdowns in that game. We're talking like 95. And Valencia had a kid that had like 5 touchdowns. And then Valencia's second running back was a guy by the name of Manuel White. who was.
I remember that guy.
Yeah, a lot of people remember Manuel White ended up at UCLA. He was about 6'3" and about 210 pounds in ninth grade.
I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was Deshaun Foster's backup, I think, at UCLA.
Yes.
He played, when I was in high school, we played them, and Manuel White was playing corner. And he jammed up our receiver who ended up at UNLV. Like, he put him on the ground. I'm talking, he was a man. He's a man playing high school football.
6'3", 210 corners.
I know, right?
Yeah.
See what else? You got Golden Valley still there. And they
got a lot of athletes.
They have a lot of athletes. We played Golden Valley.
Yeah, we saw them in the passing circuit. They have a lot of athletes. One school I didn't see this year at all, which is weird, was Hart. Didn't see them at all. So, but they're always well coached. They got.
We did a 7-on-7 with Hart, and they had a quarterback can sling it, and they had some dudes that could catch it, and which they generally always do.
Yeah.
I mean, and then they also got Canyon there. Canyon's had some difficult time the last couple of years.
I think they have a new coach too.
They have a new coach. Then they got the newcomer Castex joining the.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Castaic is joining the Foothill League. We at Burbank actually played Castaic this week.
I saw that.
And I think that's like what we noticed from Valencia is they had low numbers, and I think that might be. I think that
because
might be
we're playing them at Valencia.
Is that a new school?
That's their home. Yeah, well, I think this is their 4th year.
Oh, okay.
I think they couldn't join the Foot League because they wanted them to have seniors. I think so they had to have 4-year kids come in. I think that's what I heard. So we'll see. But I'm looking at West Ranch's. They opened up with St. Francis. They got St. Francis on Friday night, and
that's going to be a good game.
Yeah, and then they got Buena, and then they got Antelope Valley, and then they play St. Paul. So they're playing both those two teams from Angeles League.
Is that West Ranch playing St. Francis?
West Ranch.
Where's that St. Francis game at?
It's they got it at home at Valencia.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean that's and then they get their league Canyon, Saugus, Hart, Valencia, Golden Valley, and then with Castaic. I think it's going to come down. Saugus won the deal last year. But let's see who Saugus they got. Oh yeah, they got a deal. Saugus starts out there at Rio Mesa, but then they got Moore Park, Camarillo, Simi Valley, and Valencia to start.
We just saw it. We have well, I'm not going to say anything. Never mind. I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Well, okay. Let's move on to since we were talking about St. Francis. St. Francis is going to have a team. Dean Harrington out there. They got that big 6'6" quarterback.
Yeah, yep. Jack Jacobs.
How is he? I mean, I don't think he's had any big offers yet, has he?
Yeah, that's what everyone's kind of thinking about there. He's 6'6", he's solid.
There's no. I've tweeted out about him a few times. I've seen him on film. I haven't seen him in person, but I mean, I saw him even before Harrington got there, and he looked very good. I mean, he when he was a sophomore, under pressure, that game against Maricosta, and it was at Maricosta. He came back, led them to the win. I mean, he's 6'6". His father was a Division I player at UCLA. His father was also a high school and college teammate of the late Jim Bonds. So he is actually a kid from Santa Clarita, who drives into La Cañada. But he's got two of his linemen are supposedly Division I level kids.
They got some big boys up front.
Yeah, they've got Philip Ocon. I don't remember Philip's father. Was at Glendale when I was a high school student at Hoover, and he was a pretty tough guy to, he was a really good offensive lineman.
Is the other one Delgatti or Delgatti?
Yes, I believe so. Yes. And so, I know Philip's a junior, and he's like about 6'3", 6'4", and he's about like over 300 pounds.
Wow.
And supposedly, I believe he may be just in football now, but I heard at one point that he was even playing like 3 sports. I mean, he was that athletic.
They have...
but yeah, I'm surprised that Jacobs hasn't gotten more offers. It's like, I mean, Dean Harrington has sent so many guys to the Division I level as quarterbacks. It's like...
It is surprising because last year he threw for over 1,900 yards. He had 10 TDs.
I don't know. And
he rushed for 530.
Yeah, and then the thing is the crazy thing too is he supposedly the whole family went to UCLA, and yet Chip Kelly got a commitment from a kid who was up in Northern California, who I believe was like 6'5", kind of the same type of build, as as this kid, and that kid was only like a 3-star recruit, so it was like.
Yeah,
It kind of doesn't.
It under the radar, you know.
It kind of doesn't really make sense that Chip Kelly went and got someone from Northern California who's basically the same build as Jack Jacobs, who he could have spent more time recruiting someone, going after someone else at another position, when essentially, I mean, Jack Jacobs wants to be a Bruin. I mean, I don't think it's a secret when your mom and your dad and one of your siblings goes to school
Isn't
there.
that generally the case when you want to go there? They don't want to return. They don't want to recruit you.
You know, the kicker play. We saw him about 3 weeks ago when we started our fall camp, and we did 11. He made some throws. I'm talking about bottom of the numbers, close to the sideline, where
he can throw
some big boy throws. Like I mean, underneath defender was underneath, the corner was up top, and he was just like slinging it. And
I mean, but he looks like not only he can throw, he can run it. I mean, he's rushing for 500 yards. 13 touchdowns for the season last year.
And then you throw in the factor that, you have a dad who has been a Division I college player, understands, understands what it all takes to get to that next level, and he comes from a family that and a background that is familiar with the college experience at the highest level. So
do they come out of their league? They got Cathedral moved over into their league now. They got Paraclete, Cathedral, Crespi, St. Paul, and Loyola.
They also got a transfer running back from Texas.
Yeah,
That's
Devin
right.
Turner.
Yeah.
Devin Turner, Allen, Texas, and we know how Texas have running backs.
And they have a solid offensive line, so I'm guessing to make some noise. I mean, I'm assuming the competition there would be St. Paul. St. Paul's going to be really good.
Yeah.
They have a ton of athletes. I don't know how I'm sure they're like a lot of teams where we'll see what happens with the O and D line, but I know they got skill players. They got a hell of a receiving core. They got DBs for days, and they got a quarterback who can deliver. So I think St. Paul will be up there.
do they still play their games at St. Paul?
I don't even know.
Because that's a tough place to play. Historically, I remember when I was coaching at Cathedral, that was a hard place to play.
I think they do.
Yeah.
It's a hard place to play.
Yeah. I think
Where's that game at?
What's that?
Where's that game at? The St. Paul St. Francis game.
They play. It's at San Francis.
Okay.
October
maybe it's at St.
21st, second to last week of the season, at San Francis.
I think Loyola's always going to be, even though Loyola hasn't had Steve Grady for a while, but basically Loyola's coaching staff is, the guys that were all the assistants under Steve Grady in the '90s and up until the years that he before he retired, and they've got an excellent group of coaches over there, and and I think it's been well known that they've got over 200 kids in the program. I think this year. So
you think just off numbers alone, right? They should.
Yeah, they're gonna be ready, and I would think that they're gonna definitely push for a league title probably.
What do they do with the locker room? Like, how do they just numbers wise? How the heck do they fit that many kids into their locker room?
Yeah,
that's a big facility they have.
Oh, is it really? Like,
yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah, right above the field there.
I feel like I'm at a college every time I go there. I think we have to go there in a couple weeks actually to play them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What about Cathedral? You're a Cathedral alum. They had a difficult 1-8 last year, 0-4 in the mission.
They were in our league, I think, for 2 or 3 years, and I don't think they won one game. I don't know too much about them, to be honest with you. Yeah. I just know that they just have. I honestly don't. There's nothing I could point at that tells me what's going on with them.
I think they've had a lot of transfers out, right?
They always have transfers, transfers in, transfers out, but I don't think there's a lot of continuity as far as staff goes. That I think in these private leagues, I think is the big thing. If you have a staff that hasn't been together for a long time, it could get pretty hard to compete with other schools.
Okay, so let's change. Let's go Rio Hondo League. What do you think? Monrovia, probably the team that's going to pull out of that, I would think.
Yeah, Monrovia's. Chris
Williams there. They were 10-1 last year.
They have Carlos Hernandez, who's probably one of the best.
He's a
dude at receiver. We played him. Good. We played him at the 7-on-7. Where was that at? Arroyo.
Oh, the Arroyo tournament.
And he he took a pass and caught one like this, one-handed, took one juke, our DB went by right in the end zone. But it was a nice one-hand catch, just laid out there, and he just grabbed it.
He's a senior.
He's a senior.
Okay.
He's really good.
He's actually he's committed to Washington State.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
And they have another receiver. He's probably maybe a sophomore now.
Yeah.
Moore.
Yeah.
Jalen Moore.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a good wide receiver duo. I guess it's going to come back to their quarterback.
Yeah,
Quarterback.
He's,
Salazar, I think it is.
yeah, he's a new dude. He's not right.
Yeah.
He's not there. He wasn't there last year.
I think he's converted from another position. I think.
Oh, okay.
Because they were expecting to have the Covina quarterback.
That's right.
Because he
Yeah.
had transferred there.
Chris Williams does a great job over there.
Yeah,
he does a great job. He's a good coach.
Well, they open up with Bonita,
That'll be a good game.
and then they got that crosstown rival Arcadia.
They should.
Meh.
I don't think Arcadia's.
Yeah.
El Rancho,
I don't think
Ayala.
Legacy is going to be coming through those doors.
Oh,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah,
yeah.
Arcadia.
That's
Then they got El Rancho and
Sean
Ayala.
Rolling.
They're going to be good. They're in your
El Rancho?
No, Ayala.
Oh, Ayala. Yeah,
Aren't
Ayala's
they in
good.
your
Yeah.
Charter Oaks?
Oh, they've been getting a lot of buzz lately.
Yeah, they're good. Well, I mean, we're going to get to Yellow at some
Yeah. We're going to get
But,
last there.
Yeah, Monrovia's the class of that league, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you got San Dimas, you got South Pass, you got La Cañada, Pasadena Poly, San Marino, and Temple City. I mean, Temple City just got their coach back. Didn't they leave and then they got him back?
No, the coach resigned, I think, when camp was starting, and then they got another guy in.
And then he came back, right?
Yeah, I know the guys over at San Marino, and they don't. I don't think they have the numbers to compete with the Monroe or the skill set.
San Marino was very, very good. What was it, about 6-7 years ago when they had that one coach who had come from the Division I level, and he was the perfect fit for San Marino. I remember even I think it was 2011 when I was covering schools in the San Gabriel Valley, and there were a couple times that I interviewed him, and he was he's just you ask him a question and he answers it just like it, but he wasn't the type of guy that you could chat with. He was, but he was the right fit for that school because a lot of those kids are very well disciplined. I mean, we know the San Marino's, academically those kids, a lot of kids take 4 and 5 AP classes at San Marino. I mean, it's they're very, very strong academically. I mean,
Affluent.
Yeah, very affluent. I think that one year that they won CIF. I think they beat Sierra Canyon, which that was 6-7 years ago. Now, I mean, you look at that and you say, will that ever happen again?
No.
Yeah.
But I mean, the kid that was the receiver on that team that set a bunch of records. I believe he ended up at Yale. So, it's
we played South Pass in the semis last year, and I think they lost their running back and their quarterback.
Yeah.
But they're a good team, though. Like, they were well coached.
El Rancho's good, too. I mean, they're on their schedule. That'll be...
Yeah.
they were good last year. I don't know what's carried over, but they were...
They were 9-2 last year.
Yeah.
But I think if Monrovia gets by Ayala, they could run the table again.
Like last year.
They could run the table.
Yeah. And they have some returning linemen, Monrovia.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they'll be there.
All right, well, guys, I appreciate you guys showing up tonight and talking a little high school football preview here in SoCal. And Jim, thanks for showing. I'll see you on the sidelines.
absolutely.
Yeah, and obviously all you guys are welcome to return. And thanks for coming, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, pleasure to meet all you guys.
Yes.
Appreciate
yes.
it. Likewise.
I want to talk.